Hey guys, thanks for checking out the Film Geek. Today I'm doing something kind of different. I'm going to talk about 10 slasher films and why they're important for different reasons in the film genre. See, slasher films are kind of unique in the fact that they're inexpensive to make and they have a pretty high return in most cases. Studios are willing to take a chance on a lot of slasher films. That's why you find a lot of Hollywood directors whose first movie is either a regular horror or a slasher film also. I broke this down into 5 categories, 2 films each. First up, we're going to have underrated gems, then we have slasher comedies, so bad they're good, influential to the horror genre slashers, unconventional slashers. Hey, we're starting this off with the underrated slashers, and first I'm going to talk about 2001's Valentines. Valentine is a really fun movie. More of a hidden gem than the next movie I'm going to talk about. But anyways, Valentine's what I'm talking about now. Things I like about this movie, I really enjoy the slasher in this film. I really enjoy his look. He wears this cherub mask through the whole thing. He's got this long trench coat. The kills are good. They could be better. I'll get to that. But the slasher himself, the design and everything is great. He wears this cherub mask throughout the entire film. It's just this expressionless, dead-eyed plastic mask. And then he wears this long trench coat, and every time he kills somebody, he starts to get a nosebleed. I mean, it's great characterization for a slasher film. Things I disliked about this movie, well, unfortunately, I felt like the kills themselves could have been a little bit better. But when you find out what the budget was for this film, it was a pretty good sized budget for a slasher. That larger budget, I feel, should have led to a little bit more. Not that the kills weren't gory enough, I just felt that they could have been a little bit better done. That's it. Just something that I feel, with the budget they had, it was kind of squandered in different areas. So my second film is also by the same director, Jamie Blanks, and that is Urban Legend 1998. I saw this one in theaters. I myself am a big fan of urban legends. Urban legends are modern day fables, folklore, whatever you want to consider it. But the movie, Urban Legend, why is this movie cool? Well, again, it's the slasher. The killer in this movie kills all the victims in some sort of urban legend way. Guy in the back seat. We have microwave dog. We have kidney in the bathtub. I mean, you know, you just think of the urban legend and it's there. The most popular ones are definitely there. The Achilles tendon. I don't want to go on because I'm giving away too many spoilers on this movie. If you have not seen Urban Legend, it's great. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. The good news about these movies, they are both available to rent right now on Prime. The other great thing about slasher films are they make great spooks. There are a ton of absolutely fantastic, legitimate slasher comedies out there. I'm not talking about the so good they're bad genres. That's a completely different subject that I'm going to get to here in a moment. I'm going to talk about 2 movies that I don't feel get enough love out there. Starting off with Broken Lizard's Club Dread. Club Dread came out in 2004, and it takes place on this island, the Jimmy Buffett wannabe played by Bill Paxton. This is the Broken Lizard, guys. If you haven't seen this movie, and you've seen Super Troopers, you're going to like this movie. It's the same guys, same kind of humor, same kind of gross out, mixed in with some witty retort. Again, this is one that I checked out in theaters in 2004 when it came out. I'm going to go on record and say, for me personally, I enjoy Club Dread more than Super Troopers. Read on streaming services like Hulu if you're a subscriber, and you can also rent it on your various rental services. It's out there, it's not hard to find. Vudu, YouTube, it's on there. Number 2 on my list is 1981's Student Bodies.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to achieve an R rating today, A motion picture must contain full frontal nudity, graphic violence, or an explicit reference to the sex act. Since this film has none of those, and since research has proven that R-rated films are by far the most popular with the movie-going public, the producers of this motion picture have asked me to take this opportunity to say, fuck you.
Student Bodies is directed by Mickey Rose and Michael Ritchie. This film is my favorite spoof of this genre. I first became aware of this film when I was in junior high and I was watching USA Up All Night. I didn't see the very beginning of this movie. I was just flipping around late at night and boom, I caught the beginnings of what I thought was going to be a slasher film. So oh yeah, let's do this. And it is a slasher film, but let's just say I don't look at Horsehead bookends the same ever. This movie is really a joke a minute. There is so many great witty jokes, physical comedy. It's a good film that for some reason is kind of unnoticed out there. There's a handful of people that know about this film, and if you're one of them, congratulations. You know how freaking entertaining this movie is. It's also for rental on Prime right now, which is where I checked it out recently, just to kind of familiarize myself with this movie before I did the video. And I introduced it to my girlfriend Amy, and I gotta say it was a lot of fun sitting next to somebody who had never seen this movie before and hearing genuine first-time laughs, and it was a lot of fun. So if you enjoy comedy, you enjoy slashers, check out 1981's Student Bodies. Next up is, again, another laughable movie, but this is not on purpose. These are the slashers so bad they're good films. Remember when I said that a lot of first-time directors get into the slasher genre because they're inexpensive to make? Well, so do the bad ones, unfortunately. I've decided to lead off the so bad they're good slasher films with the all-time greatest so bad it's good film director of all times, Mr. Claudio Fragazio. Alright, Night Killer is a just genre rip-off film. They wanted to model the guy to look like Freddy Krueger, have a kill method like claws like Freddy Krueger, but none of the interesting dream stuff. Just a guy in a rubber mask and a claw, which is exactly what they did. This mask was just a Halloween mask they picked up. Same way with the claw. I believe they might have painted it a little bit different, but I don't think they did, to be perfectly honest. This movie is just, this is advanced level B-movie schlock.
And now?
You sure?
What about these?
Throw them in the toilet.
What?
Do it!
My shirt too, I guess.
Got it. Now flush it.
Flush it?
Flush it!
Alright, don't make this your first B film, or your first so bad it's good movie. You need to check out The Room first, ease yourself into things, pick up Night Killer when you're horribly jaded. Check out Troll 2 first, just because that's the more mainstream film of his. Mainstream. Then watch Night Killer. And if you get through Troll 2, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe what I just saw, kick it up a notch. Turn on Tubi, yes, Tubi TV, that's where you're going to find Night Killer right now. Check it out. I don't want to tell you any more about this movie, because there is no plot. There is nothing. I don't know how to explain what happens. All I know is that this guy has a claw, and he likes to punch through his victims. That's what he does. He punches through them, or they might get like a red mark on their neck that kills them. Night Killer. Came out in 1990. Alright, the next film I'm going to talk about in the So Bad They're Good movies. This one I did spend actual cash. I did see this movie in the theaters. I damn well knew what I was going to get into, too. Jason X. Directed by James Isaac, this is a disaster on many levels for the entire franchise. I do love this movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't love it for being good. I love it for being so bad that I can't stop laughing. This killed the entire franchise. Not much has come of the Jason franchise since this movie. There was a remake that a lot of people don't talk about. Jason X, Jason 10, it goes where all franchises go to die. Space. Yes, and not just space, guys. No, we can't just leave it at space. It can't just be Jason in space, because how would he get into space? Because it's the future, right? Right? And, you know, how do you stop Jason Voorhees? Well, apparently you cryogenically freeze him. So, the beginning of the movie starts off, Jason Voorhees is in the process of being cryogenically frozen. Things go awry, as they do. Jason gets out, but he does get frozen back. He just gets some chaos. So you have some early kills in the movie. So then they put him back in the freezer, or they get him in the freezer. There's a helicopter. You guys hear that? It's a helicopter. Helicopter outside. You hear that? What you gonna do when you live in downtown? If you're familiar with the series and you've never seen Jason X, you need to check this movie out. If you're not a fan of Jason Voorhees, check this movie out because it's entertaining. And it also actually has my second favorite kill in the entire franchise. Jason X, check it out. You're going to enjoy yourself. It's an hour and a half or so well spent. Alright, well that brings us to more of your influential slasher films. And so I'm going to start that off with 1974's Black Christmas.
Claude? Claude? God damn it, Claude, I'm gonna have you fixed.
Black Christmas is arguably the first slasher film ever made, and again, like I said, it's arguably, people like to reference stuff like Peeping Tom, Bay of Blood, as I've brought up before, but one of the other films in that is also Black Christmas, 1974, not the two remakes. I'll get into that kind of stuff later on down the road. Today, I'm only talking about 1974's. Why is this influential? Well, it is considered one of the first slasher films, if not the first slasher film, however you want to look at it. It takes place in a sorority house over a few days, where these sorority sisters and the people and the women that live in this house are terrorized by a killer named Billy. God, what's great about this movie really is the fact that we know nothing about Billy. Billy doesn't ever let any of us know why he's doing any of this. And then he's just, that's it. You never know. You never know why he's terrorizing these girls. Which really makes the movie a ton more frightening when you think about it. Because maybe he had a reason, or maybe he just put his finger on a name in a phone book. So Black Christmas, as I said, takes place over a course of a few days of the sorority girls in their home as they're being stalked by the killer Billy. During Christmas. Hence, Black Christmas. There has been two remakes of this film. As I said, I'm not getting into that because I want to do a video about remakes, so I'm not going to talk about the remakes. Anywho, why is this important? As I said, it is the granddaddy of slasher films. This movie definitely led to the making of Halloween, which is considered the first slasher film. Now, what's funny about my second film in influential slashers is the fact that not only is this one influential, but it's also part of the same franchise I just talked about, and the So Bad They're Good, and that is the first Friday the 13th.
We weren't doing anything, we were just messing with
Now, I decided to focus on the first Friday the 13th because it kind of turned things a little bit on who the killer is. The fact that the killer in this movie actually ends up being Jason's mom, what a great red herring. This was something that was really different in the slasher genre. The slasher being a woman. You don't see the slasher throughout the entire thing until the big reveal of who they are, and that's great. That's why this movie was really heavily influential in the slasher film, because it changed things up a bit. It gave us a different villain, and not only that, the actress also who portrays Mama Voorhees was well known for being a very wholesome, good-hearted TV actress. So no one suspected her to be the killer in this movie, and then boom, she was! And it made people go to the theaters and see it because everyone talked about it. You gotta see what happens, you're not gonna believe this twist. So that's why it's influential. This movie broke the boundaries of the slasher genre in 1980. Alright, that brings us to my last topic that I want to talk about, and that is unconventional slashers. Unconventional slashers meaning that we're not talking about a person who's stalking people or a monster, zombie, whatever you want to call Jason Voorhees. Remember, I wasn't, you know, he becomes a robot. Becomes a robot later in the series. Starts off a guy it starts off a dude in the lake and ends up being a robot. Okay, unconventional slashers, however, what I'm getting at is not your typical killer running around, but it still has all the tropes of a slasher film. So I'm starting that off with 1980s Christine. Directed by John Carpenter. I love John Carpenter's films. He's my all-time favorite director. We will be getting to a John Carpenter week somewhere down the line. I just haven't got there yet, because trying to figure out my favorite John Carpenter's films is like saying pick a favorite child. You know, that was easier than I thought it would be. Christine is the movie based off the same book by Stephen King. Christine follows the killer car who kills people one by one. It's a slasher film. Christine is a slasher film. Just because it's not a person chasing someone around with a knife, it's a slasher film. It hits every one of the beats. I mean, for God's sakes, it's directed by John Carpenter. What more evidence do you need that this is a slasher film? I love Christine. This was one of my first early horror movies that I saw when I was younger, and it stuck with me so much. The idea of something like a car coming to life and killing people blew my freaking mind. To this day, I still love this film. I still has one of my all-time favorite movie kill moments, and that was the one that was shown in the clip. That's why I put it in here. That's my favorite kill. And a friend of mine, we discussed how that scene is great every time it's on. If you haven't seen Christine, check it out. You can find it right now for rental on, again, your major rental services, Vudu. You know the routine. You hear me say it all the time. Vudu, YouTube, those guys. Up next is a film that when it came out, I was a big advocate of this film. I was telling everybody, check this movie out. You gotta see this movie. This is a horror movie that is unique. It is different. They finally had a great idea of originality. Final Destination.
There you go. There we stay. You're paying for my trip, Brad. You're on that plane. You fucking brat. Oh, shit.
2000's Final Destination. Whew, I really enjoy this movie. To this day, I love this movie. I still defend it for being completely original for the time period. The idea of using just death as the slasher. We never see this killer. The killer is just in the air, all around us. At any time, these guys could die. At any freaking time. There is no rules in this movie. Walking across the street, bus. Try to cross some train tracks. You're gonna get stuck. This movie has some of the best surprise out of nowhere kills that you're gonna find in a slasher film. This movie was directed by James Wong, and he also directed the number 3, which is not really one of my favorites, sadly. But I still love this franchise. I really, really love this franchise. Check it out. Even if you just watch the first movie, Final Destination, you're going to have a great time. If you want to watch all the other movies, they are very similar plot. There's not much difference in between them all. They just kind of try to be more creative with the kills as time goes on with each one of these films. But you can't outdo the original. So make sure you check this one out. It's got to be on a watch list. And that's 2000's Final Destination. Alright guys, thanks for sticking this one out. I know this was a long video, but it kind of had to be. Because of the topic and the fact that these are 10 movies that I really enjoy, and I figured this was a really great way to present them to all of you out there. So thank you so much for watching The Film Geek. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as I always say, folks, keep watching movies, because you know I'm gonna.
Fried chicken and french fries.